Welcome back to the Toppy Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back with another one of our news videos. This afternoon we have two main stories for the video. So without further ado, let's get into them. The first one is that Everton have made a late move to try and sign Liverpool midfielder James Milner. The 37-year-old rejected Everton's offer in favour of Brighton. That made a late offer, not have made. That's come from Peter O'Rourke, who's normally quite reliable. This is all over the shop for me. I like Brighton, and I think they're a good club. Milner will just be a bit part player there. Very, very certain of that. I don't think he'll get much games. He's 37. He must be looking to wind down soon. Shocked that we've tried to go get him. I would hate to see James Milner trying to run with our midfielders. The whole point that we got over Brighton was that we had legs in the recent 5-1 win. Brighton like to be nice on the ball, take their time, invite the press. He will suit that, whether he suits the legs that Doucoure is meant to be doing, or Onana, or Garner. I just don't see it. I think this is a bit of a scattergun approach by Everton. And I don't think Milner was ever going to come to us realistically. One, because of where we are in the table. Two, because of where we spent most of his years now, most of his last few years at Liverpool. I think he's one of those old style type of players who still sees loyalty in the game. And I don't think he was ever going to come across the park to us. The next one is that Everton, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth have all made inquiries via intermediaries on the possibility of signing James Rodriguez. This has come from Asco Martin via El Football El Rojo. Just be a little bit wary of this one because both the sources are very, very new. Christian Martin is a broadcaster covering America, South America's, Europe, and a couple of others. And El Futbolero Colombia is a Colombian football news outlet, from what I can gather. First time I've seen both of these. Take that with a pinch of salt. It'd be interesting, wouldn't it, James Rodriguez? As soon as I saw that he was on a free, I thought some of our fans are going to see the romantic side of that. I think Everton Football Club, probably there is some in the club that see the romantic side of that. He's a fantastic player. I'm not going to sit here and say he isn't, because when he was with us, I absolutely adored watching him. He also had a manager that suited his system. He was allowed that freedom to cut in from the right. Almost as an advanced playmaker up in the right wing position. Where he fits in Sean Dyche's 4-2-3-1 that he's been playing of late, or 4-3-3, depending on how you want to look at it, I'm not too sure. I don't think he's got the legs for any of the centre roles, and I think Dyche likes his wingers to be a little bit more involved, hence why we're seeing it. Maybe you'd argue maybe he could do the Iwobi role on the right, but he's predominantly left-footed, so that will cause complications. I don't know if this is a Sean Dyche or an Everton transfer. This needs to be a Sean. If Sean Dyche wants him, then I'm all for it. But it needs to be a Sean Dyche signing if we're going to stick with him next year. If we stay up, you can't be buying players, luxury players for a manager who wants workhorses. It's not going to work. Love James Rodriguez. There's no doubt about that. I'm not saying he's naff. He's quality. I just question where he fits into this system with this manager. And I worry that this, once again, is shades of old Everton, where players are being bought without the manager's full consent and approval, and planning as well. We have got a couple more going wrong. We've got Salernitana are hoping Everton put Neil Moipai on the transfer list and are ready to make a bid. Several other clubs in Syria and also former club OGC Nice are interested. That's come from Tuto Salerno. I'm hoping Everton put Neil Moipai on the transfer list. I think he might do okay in France or possibly Italy. Maybe does okay. Maybe gets a little couple more goals a season than he would in a Premier League. That'll be the litmus test for me on the stages of quality. It's just not working for him at Everton, and I think I don't really I didn't rate him when we bought him. I don't think it's working in the Premier League, not just Everton. This is going to go down as his worst goal scoring season, but he wasn't blasting them in for Brighton. So I was dubious when we signed him because of his Brighton form. Been proven right, unfortunately. It's not one of those ones I'm going to take with a lot of gloat because it means we've suffered at the hands of it. Yeah, I think maybe escaping this lead, go to another league, maybe that'll be a bit better for him realistically. But yeah, I can't see that happening. In all honesty, I can't see him staying in the Premier League. I can see Everton wanting to make a little bit of money on him. I think it is time that he goes somewhere else. There are other bits though to mention as well. Everton and Tottenham are to compete over Illman and Ndiaye from Sheffield United. This is a player that the Blades are really enjoying at the minute. He scored 14 goals and got 11 assists over their promotional campaign. One way or another, it looks like he's destined for the Prem. He's got reports from the Daily Mail saying the 23-year-old is targeted by us and Tottenham Hotspur. He only has 14 months left on his contract and has no extensions been agreed. He's a fantastic little player from what I've seen. Really good. If we can get him for a good price, which looking at how long he's got left on his contract, we might do, then it really is worth looking at. Obviously, we're there with Tottenham Hotspur, who you'd think have enough wingers currently with Kuleveski. They did have Brian Gill, Heung-min Son. I know there's a glaring other one that I'm missing. Who plays up there with Kane and Son, and the name's escaping me. I know they've also got Lucas Moura as well. But they've also got this man, and this isn't the man that's name's escaping me if you're screaming at your computer. They've also got Richarlison, and he coincidentally is our next story. Tottenham are reportedly willing to listen to offers for former Everton forward Richarlison. Richarlison only departed Goodison Park for North London last summer for 60 million. However, has really struggled with only 3 goals. Reports from Team Talk via AS indicate European giants Real Madrid and Inter Milan are keen on a cut price for the Brazilian. I know a couple of fans will be absolutely praying we get him back. I think realistically, if Carlo Ancelotti's coming knocking for him, he is very much going. Could go to Inter Milan as well, coincidentally, and have him and Lukaku, 2 players that the club failed to replace up front for Inter Milan, which would be quite something. And finally, we end on quotes from Abdoulaye Doucoure, who is playing knowing that he is out of a contract at the end of the season. You could argue playing for a contract. He's had a really great season, second half of the season under Sean Dyche, it has to be said. Yeah, really great. The brace he scored against Brighton was a great brace. We've seen that from him before, though, where he's the most put forward midfielder. And speaking after scoring twice in that game about his contract, Doucoure said, and I quote, "The club knows my position since even a year ago. Now, obviously, it becomes very difficult for us to find something well between us, to find an agreement. I am doing my job at the moment, and we are going to see at the end of the season. But I am focused on keeping Everton up." He then went on to say about his long-term ambition. He said, "I spoke to the club. I know my position. I want to stay here much longer. I enjoy being here a lot. I want to commit to the club for the future, 3-4 years more. I enjoy the atmosphere and I have more to give the club." It's interesting he said 3 to 4 years because he is getting on a little bit now. But it looks like he's here. He wants to stay. I think that was glaringly obvious. I think when he was frozen out on the Frank Lampard, he was hitting out. He was liking tweets about how not well Frank Lampard wasn't doing well. And that was frustration. Don't get me wrong, it lacks a bit of professionalism. It's fair to say that. But I think he also was frustrated and he's hit out. In the days of social media, anybody and everybody is free to share an opinion on there, it seems. He's just expressing his through liking tweets, which is well in his right to do. It does come across as a bit unprofessional, but it's only aimed at the manager, not the club. And bearing in mind how poor Frank Lampard is as a football manager, I'm going to allow it and let it slide. playing for his contract. He's playing well. Do I think he'll get one? I think, not even reading between the lines, I think it's obvious where the club's position probably is on that, and that's if we stay up, you might get one. If we go down, probably not, as you're one of the highest earners. I think the club's waiting to see what happens. If Doucoure wants to stay, he's going to have to play out of his socks for it to keep us up, which he's doing so far. Fair credit to him. So yeah, people will say maybe he's playing for a contract, and he is. He is. He won't get a contract unless we stay up. So he is playing to keep Everton up, and therefore symbiotically he's playing for his contract. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Hopefully we can stay up regardless of if we sign him or not a new contract. That's all we got time for. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your thoughts on the two big main ones. Would you take James Rodriguez back at Everton Football Club? And would you have took James Milner? Do you think that's one we've missed out on? Look forward to reading your opinions. I'll see you soon.